2024 marks the 10-year anniversary of the Game Awards. The Game Awards is known as this space where new games debut, like a lot of new games. Maybe too many. It's like 90% ads, but like I'm here for it. I'm not complaining. As the show reached 10 years, there was a lot of reflection on the industry as a whole, with multiple acclaimed developers commenting on layoffs and even making snide remarks about loot boxes and play-to-win schemes. On the consumer side, at least online, there's a lot of discourse about the infiltration of wokeness in video games, which a lot of people complained about, especially with a lot of these new games debuting that have women that aren't conventionally attractive, and I might be making a video essay about it in 2025. Wink wink. But beyond that, there is just a overall inner rift about what the gaming industry stands for and what it should be going forward. Will it continue on this trajectory of, loot boxes, pay to win schemes, and profit incentives, or will it take gaming back by the balls and make art for art's sake? But I think I might have the answer for which way it's heading. Although upcoming games are a big draw for the show, so is Game of the Year. It encompasses what stood out for consumers, what direction developers are going in, and defines this overall year for the gaming industry as a whole. Before the Game of the Year was announced, last year's winner, Sven, ended the show with a speech about how to win the title.
The Oracle told me that the Game of the Year 2025 was going to be made by a studio who found the formula to make it up here on stage. It's stupidly simple, but somehow it keeps on getting lost. Studio made their game because they wanted to make a game that they wanted to play themselves. They created it because it hadn't been created before. They didn't make it to increase market share. They didn't make it to serve as a brand. They didn't have to meet arbitrary sales targets or fear being laid off if they didn't meet those targets. They didn't treat their developers like numbers on a spreadsheet. They didn't treat their players as users to exploit. They knew that if you put the game and the team first, the revenue will follow.
Essentially stating there is no formula, and the studio Baldur's Gate focused on creating what made them and their audience happy. They put their creativity above all else. The formula essentially was to not have a formula, to break the mold, if you will. Now, I'll save you some time. I'll spoil it. Astro Bot won Game of the Year. And it's no shade to the game or the developers. I'm sure they worked, very hard, and I'm sure it's a great game, obviously, if it was nominated. But after a night about breaking the mold, caring about creativity, and enjoyment above profit, no other game perfectly achieved it to the degree that Black Myth Wukong did. It was a game that helped to push the future of not only the game industry, but the entire entertainment industry as a whole. And I'll tell you how exactly it did that. But first, you're gonna have to subscribe. Okay, I have TikTok, I have Instagram, I have Patreon, I have Discord. All except for the Patreon are free, but the Patreon you do get exclusive content every single week, pretty much. I'm just saying. Like if you want to. So you can support for $1 on there or on here on YouTube, where you get cute emotes that you can put in the chat. Okay, why wouldn't you want to? Who wouldn't want to do that? Okay, flex on everybody else who doesn't have them. But I think you think this is a suggestion. I'm not, other than the Patreon. I think you guys think the free stuff that I'm offering is a suggestion, and it's not. Okay, there will be a curse on your family for 7 years if you don't at least subscribe. It's freaking free. It's a click of a button. Like, I don't get it. I don't get it. I think you guys think I'm playing, but I'm not. Just think about it, okay? Do you want the curse, the 7-year curse, or do you not? Okay, I don't. It's your choice. The entire entertainment industry has noticeably been on a downward trajectory. A lot of big companies like Disney, Netflix, Warner Bros., you name it, mainly recycle old IPs and create remakes or quick in and out underwhelming products. Literally, when I went to see Wicked, all of the previews, I'm telling you, like pretty much 95% of the previews that came before the movie were Disney movie remakes. It was like Mufasa, and then it was freaking Snow White live action, then it was another live action, then it was like some crappy lame 3D animation Disney's doing. Not memorable in the slightest. Okay, I'm just saying, like, Disney used to be something. Okay, can we talk about that for a minute? Like, I think I've talked about it in my video, that video essay I did on like the video game industry, kind of talking about this issue I'm talking about right now, where people just do like remakes and recycle old IP. I think I talked about it then, but like Disney used to be something. You guys remember the 90s? You remember Aladdin? You remember Tarzan? You remember Mulan? They used to be something. What happened to them? Like, they should be ashamed of themselves. What has happened to you? I hate them so much. Like, with a burning passion. I hate them. But the tide is changing. There is still hope, especially with the threat of AI replacing our jobs and the strikes last summer. Workers and consumers are fighting for better. The pendulum is possibly swinging back in art's favor. Works from the past few years, like Across the Spider-Verse, are like this needle in the haystack among soulless copycat Disney animation. It's a film that highlighted artistry and emotion, featuring styles like German expressionism. Like, who else is doing it like them, making an entire universe, entire world that is inspired by German expressionism? Like, girl, they ate. And also featuring this new, honestly pioneering this new 2D, 3D hybrid wave that other shows like Arcane are also following as well. People are gravitating more and more to that style, especially after being deprived of real stories and animation for so long. I would argue that Wukong is the Spider-Verse of the gaming industry. Now, that may be a big statement, but honestly, it's not. The game speaks for itself. It brings a similar energy back to the gaming industry, revitalizing the 500-year-old myth Journey to the West. It's a story that East Asia has continuously referenced with television shows and some of the most popular animes like Dragon Ball Z and One Piece. Bet you didn't know that. Okay, Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy, is literally Wukong. I bet you didn't know that. But the game serves as the Western world's first true introduction to the story while still offering a twist. Like, they still switched it up on a. The game actually doesn't center Wukong, but his predecessor, the Chosen One. The player goes on a journey of self-actualization as the Chosen One collects relics to remember his predecessor's past. Despite it being the lowest scored nominee for Game of the Year in history, it has been praised continuously online by streamers and players for its satisfying gameplay mechanics. Like, I think everyone who played it was like, why was this scored so low? I don't understand. The protagonist slowly gains abilities along his journey, from invisibility to hardening to lightning. The one thing that never changes though is the Chosen One's humble staff, which I just love. And honestly, that's how you know Monkey D. Luffy was inspired by Wukong, because they both stay humble. They both got that same, humble vibe, That's Luffy all the way. The game also features a fairly unique mechanic of temporary transformations. The Monkey King Wukong long had the ability to transform into various animals and creatures, and the Chosen One is no different. You can become a blacksmith bear or a spore alien creature. It don't matter. The sky is the limit. The reason I was attracted to it personally, even though I can I can barely play it because my graphics card sucks. But I was attracted to it because it is like a more user-friendly version of Soulsborne type games, which I really wanted to get into after seeing people play Elden Ring. And then I saw this game and I was like, this is perfect. Games like Elden Ring and Sekiro are known for their extremely difficult boss run style, but Wukong offers an entry level point to that style as the character runs from world to world, piecing together the story through its bosses. I would honestly argue that Wukong, to me, has a stronger story arc compared to games like Elden Ring, where the bosses to me don't feel as connected to each other. The world building also in Wukong is exceptional. Not to say that Elden Ring's isn't, because it definitely is. Like, Elden Ring's world is gorgeous. But Wukong has that similar, like, it's on par. It's got great world building. It has great sense of scale, and I love that each chapter explores a different landscape environment. It goes from like this green land, a forest area, to the desert, then to like this ice world. Like, it's so cool. And each landscape and world perfectly matches its bosses and story. Did I mention that it also has 113 unique bosses? Now that's nothing compared to Elden Ring's 238. But remember, okay, this is entry level, okay? It's still incredibly impressive though to make 113 bosses that don't look like the one that came before it, that are just completely separate and new characters. Like, that's impressive as frick. Okay, I know this sounds like an ad, but it's literally not. I just love this game so much. Okay, I'm also, I should have described my makeup, but like I did my makeup inspired by the ice world. Okay, a little bit of an ice world vibe. We got the rosy cheeks, we got the white lashes, the white eyebrows. I don't know how I feel about doing white eyebrows, but I try my best. Now for my final and favorite aspect of the game, which as an animation major is obviously the animated cutscenes. This to me is the definition of not skimping on a vision, of not prioritizing profit over the final product. Game Science collaborated with multiple animation studios in China, including Big Smoke, Green Monster, and Mindo, to further bring the story to life. The cutscenes are made in various styles, mainly in 2D, but also there's a stop motion one, which is just so cool. Like, who is out here doing that? I want you to tell me. I want you to tell me what game is out here repping stop motion. Nobody. They not only offer a breather or a little reward at the end when you finish a chapter, but greatly aid and expand the world you were playing in. One cutscene may offer the player a lesson or parable about greed, and then another sheds a light on a character's tragic past. It helps to fully round out the experience and create this rare sense of collaboration across not only studios but mediums. Like, it's so freaking awesome. Like, let me ask you once again, who is out here doing that? Nobody. I don't know anybody in the gaming industry, in the entertainment industry, that is cross collaborating like that. Ain't nobody out here doing it like that, okay? Now I know this was just a glaze session for Black Myth Wukong, but I truly feel like it was the only big game this year that stood out among the rest. And it's because of the reasons I just listed. It strived to create this irreplaceable experience for players that fully captured the myth of Wukong, its lessons and its culture. I'm sure for Chinese players, they were like, this is normal, we get this all the time. We get peak all the time. Okay, we live in peak. Have you seen a Chinese city? Have you seen a Chinese tier 1 city? Like, we live peak. But for an American, this was a phenomenal work of art, okay? We have been starving in America. We do not get peak very often. It's once in a blue moon. Like I said, this country's profit incentive culture ends up degrading artwork and experiences like gaming, because its goal is not to create a fantastic product, but to make a quick buck. And I hate that, and that's exactly what Sven from Baldur's Gate and a lot of these developers from Game Awards echoed. We need less of this profit-focused BS and more love and soul in all of our entertainment. So why they didn't choose the game that showcased that to the max will forever be a mystery to me. But you know, I made my case. Okay, it'll just have to be game of the year in my heart forever. But I want to say thank you to all my patrons for supporting me. All my YouTube members, thank you so much. Big preach, love you all. But I will see you in the next one. Okay, bye.